If you knew morning wood, then you know why I feel blue. Without morning, my morning wood. Oh, well, I love you, yes, I love you, morning wood. Morning wood, morning wood. Oh, how my heart yearns for you. Oh, morning, my morning wood. Oh, well, I love you, yes, I love you, morning wood. Morning wood, morning wood. Pretty, 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 pretty morning wood. Oh, morning, my morning wood. Oh, well, I love you and I need you, morning wood. I love you, morning wood, with a love so rare and true. Oh, morning, my morning wood. Well, I love you, I want you, morning wood.
Rise and shine. Happy Devil's Sunday. This is The Morning Woo. Coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios inside the bunker. Undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network. As last night proved to be a downer, Devils getting the point, however, but mistakes, Devils making it more complicated than it needs to be. Dougie Hamilton, puck watching. Jack Hughes, Mr. Turnover. Dawson Mercer. Jonas Siegenthaler, not playing smart hockey. But somehow the Devils managed to get a point. But it doesn't need to be this difficult. I forgot who said it yesterday when I was trying to kind of simplify the game for the New Jersey Devils. And whoever said, the Bantam hockey, that just tells you the fundamentals are just not there. And this is not a very disciplined team. No doubt Sheldon Keefe is a good coach. I'm not going to question Sheldon Keefe. I'm questioning this team because we've seen this act before under Lindy Ruff and Nasruddin and Hines. It just simply cannot happen anymore. This team is too talented to be in the position they are right now. I don't know what's wrong with Dougie. We kind of talked about it last night on the podcast, Scotty and I, on Devils After Dark. You got to think that the pressure's weighing on him right now. You got two blue liners, Dougie Hamilton and Luke Hughes, making $9 million AAV, but there's a big difference between the two. One's a 22-year-old veteran. Not a veteran, sorry. 22-year-old player, and the other is a plus 30 veteran. It's just not looking good. You had a 3-2 lead, and you blew it. You scored 2 quick goals. The momentum's on your side. You're at home. The crowd's going wild. And you just watch Alexander Ovechkin take you to school. Happy Devil's Sunday to you, Ted. Dubs is like, they don't need to keep it simple. They should complicate and tear the whole thing down. At worst, they are now a lottery team. At best, they are the first round exit. That's nowhere. Dubs is like, I'm trying to salvage what's going on. I'm telling you right now, I'll make it even more simple for you. But it's not going to happen, so we're just going to have to deal. I want new owners. That's me. I want new culture. I try to buy into this. It's not working for me. I want winning. I don't want the fluff anymore. I don't want the marketing. I don't want new jerseys. I don't want funny videos, viral videos. I don't want Devil social media to be clever and snarky or whatever. I just want winning. I'm going to dumb it down. Winning solves everything. And the team simply is not winning the way they're supposed to be winning. You know, when they get wins, I think they're just getting lucky at this point. It's not a very good team right now. It could be a lot better. Chris Ladd, morning woo. I never thought I'd see the Sabres in a better position than the Devils. Well, didn't I tell you that Lindy Ruff is not a bad coach? Stanley says Jack's Pee-wee level turnover perfectly sums up the entire organization. This is a player in his 7th NHL season. Happy Devil Sunday to you, Maria. Lindy Revenge Tour. Yeah, I mean, again, the fundamentals are not there. And where's the accountability here? At some point, I hate to say it, if you want to kind of like rip it down for a sec, and I know it's hard to do, but at some point you have to start benching players like Jack Hughes for making stupid plays. Of course, it's going to hurt their ego. Of course, it's going to, they're going to be mad. But that's what we need. Maybe what the Devils need, remember when Tom Fitzgerald said we don't need any dickheads on this team? I couldn't be more opposite of that opinion. No, I think you need dickheads on this team. And I think maybe Sheldon Keefe is not the right coach. Just brainstorming here. Don't take me that seriously. Take it with a grain of salt if you want. Maybe Sheldon Keefe is not that dickhead. But I don't know what it is, what this team needs to get it through their thick skulls about focus on winning. Oh, but Sam, of course they want to win. Who doesn't want to win? But the real question is, who's willing to put in the sacrifices to win? This team is playing like individuals. They're making individual mistakes, making boneheaded decisions, not conforming to the team concept. This is why they're losing. They gave up a point last night. And I get it. You lost out on the Quinn Hughes sweepstakes. Fitzy backed himself in the corner. He's still trying to figure out the salary cap situation, which we're going to all be enlightened how this is going to work when Kovacevic comes back. I expect excellence. Devils fans expect excellence instead of this mediocrity. You could spin it the way you want it, but this team is just average. And let's be honest with ourselves. Wimpy, thank you for the super chat. Wimpy, I was looking all over for you yesterday. We'll have to, I'll text you later, but the super chat reads, good is not good enough when better is expected. Yeah, we are expecting a team that's not only going to make the playoffs, but it's going to make a lot of noise this year. Tom says, I question why Dougie out there so much. Maybe they want to beat him to death and make him play all this ice time so he's so exhausted where he'd be like, no mas, no mas. I'll waive my no movement clause, Fitzy. Just don't have me out there so many minutes. Just kidding around. Mediocrity is good enough for Columbus. Chris Ladd says Fitz is going to have to take the L on a trade and move Palat or Dougie to be one of the teams on the list, even if it gets you a draft pick. Other moves must be made. It's all about moving salary at this point. Stanley, yeah, they want to win, but they obviously don't hate to lose enough. That's why this it's status quo from ownership down. I couldn't agree with you more. Anytime I read or listen in or watch a Joshua Harris and David Blitzer press conference, not just with the Devils. I mean, I study them because it's been 10 years already. Over 10 years already that they've owned this team. And I'm constantly studying them to see what their next move is. How they react. How they do business. And you really have to, if you really make an observation on this ownership group, you've got to have laser focus on not getting distracted with all the fluff around their press conferences and the PR spin, because they've got deep pockets and they've got professionals that know how to control the message. But I'm going to give you the truth. They simply do not know how to win championships. They've got all the tools. I'm not going to even criticize them as businessmen because they know what they're doing. They know how to make money. And I think that's a good thing because it takes money to make money and it takes money to win championships. I'm not going to question that. What they do in the daytime jobs, I think they're probably the best in the world and the gold standard. But when it comes to sports franchises and winning and trying to make money at the same time, they know how to make money, but I don't think they have grasped the concept of what wins championships. Because I think a lot of it, they want to see the data, just like they're in a day job. With hedge funds and, company records and profits and losses and all that kind of good stuff. But right now, what you see right now with the New Jersey Devils is you see that they have a lot of good pieces on this team. But for whatever reason, they're not held accountable. They're not playing the team concept. They're making fundamental mistakes. And they're paying the price for it right now. This is why they're in this predicament. That's why they lost a point. These points are crucial, especially when you're playing a Metropolitan Division opponent. They basically handed the Washington Capitals the game on that game-winning goal last night, which they were less than a minute away from a shootout. Roman says winning championships makes less money. Harris Blitzer isn't going to do this to win championships. Players and everyone want raises when you win. But, you know, Roman, with the three leagues that they own, the Sixers, the Devils, and the Commanders, all different types, but they all have salary caps. So I do commend them for spending to the cap with the New Jersey Devils. The problem is I think they overspent. And then they have a GM that didn't properly manage the GM and the captologist. I don't know who the captologist is. I'm assuming it's Kate Madigan, but I could be wrong. But they didn't manage their cap money very well. And right now they're in this predicament, which I'm going to marvel what they're going to do with Dougie Hamilton and Andre Palat, especially when they were giving out no movement clauses like candy. Where's your leverage there? And that has to be asked by David Blitzer. He's a smart guy. He's made so many transactional deals in his career in the financial world. Why are you giving your leverage away? Are we saving dollars and cents by doing that? But right now we're getting screwed. That's a hard question. I'm not going to answer that question, but I like to know. Max says letting up a goal with 1 second left is tragic as well. He's been repeating. It's been a repeating cycle with that last second goal or an opening minute goal. Yeah, it's a buzzkill. Max says, I'm telling you, Dougie needs to go for future consideration. So who wants that albatross of a contract? It's easier said than done, Max. Dubzilla says 3 of the goals came in the last minute of the period. It's just hard. Team can't finish and score goals, and the teams can't finish a period. The key word is they can't finish, which means lack of execution. What's the lack of execution? It's the lack of focus and intensity. What's the lack of focus and intensity? Point to leadership, no accountability. Tom says I had season tickets for 4 seasons. It's the same issues every season. I've been a season ticket holder for 25 years. I'm not trying to one-up you, Tom. Not trying to one-up you. I'm trying to make a point. I started in the year 2000. From the year 2000 to 2015, when Marty Brodeur left the team and retired, eventually with St. Louis. The first 15 years, one of the greatest years. It's one of the greatest stretches. Devils weren't perfect, but they had identity. They had identity. Then move in the Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment Group. At that time, they were a bunch of amateur prospective owners. They just had bought the 76ers. The 76ers were a playoff team, barely, but they were still a playoff team. And they ripped it down and put their newfound analytics guru, forgot his name. I think his name was Sam. He was the GM of the team. The Sixers sucked to the point where it was so obvious they were tanking to get first overall picks. Again, and the NBA had to step in. I don't know if it was David Silver or Adam Silver or David Stearns at the time. Brought in the Colangelo brothers, father and son team, sorry, to teach them how to run a freaking team because you're ruining the brand called the NBA, a global brand. During that time period, they bought the Devils. They thought it was a good investment. Buy up $330 million worth of debt. You have full control of the Prudential Center. You haven't maximized your potential revenue because the previous ownership, Jeff Vanderbeek, unfortunately had financial issues. A lot of it no fault to his own when the market crashed in 2008. And he moved this team during the height of the housing bubble before it burst, had huge lump sum payments, but they bought this team thinking, oh, okay, we're going to change the culture. And if you remember, I talked about this story. Opening night, the first game they owned this team in the regular season, opening night, Devils score, everyone's going wild, and they changed the goal song. This is our house. Some Bon Jovi song that I've never heard of. And the WTF question mark on the Devils fans' faces. And I talked about this a few podcasts ago. I'll never forget that look. Culture change was coming. They spent that first year because they bought the team late before the season. So they bought the team around August, I think, of 2014. There wasn't much time to prepare for that season. So they went status quo. They kept Lou. They kept everything as is, and they watched for a whole year. They did a couple things here and there, but they just watched for a whole year. Devils didn't make the playoffs. We had the outdoor game, if you remember, that season again at Yankee Stadium. We had that. And then change was coming. They decided we're going to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins model. And what was the Pittsburgh Penguins model? Well, distressed asset. Mario Lemieux came back because they owed him a lot of money. And what was the Pittsburgh Penguins model? Tank, 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 and get that first overall pick. They got Marc-Andre Fleury. In 2004, I think they had a second overall pick. They have Evgeny Malkin. 2005, that mystery NHL lottery draft was not televised, and somehow they got Sidney Crosby first overall. Boy, I could have predicted that. Everybody predicted that. Pittsburgh's going to win that draft lottery because they needed the most. It was not even televised. All it was is, okay, this is who won. In my mind, that was a rigged lottery draft because everybody wanted, because you missed a whole year of NHL hockey. So how are you going to do the draft? But Sidney Crosby, Pittsburgh Penguins. Then they had Jordan Staal, which they should have picked Jonathan Taves in that draft. And that was the Pittsburgh Penguins model. And then on top of that, they needed a new arena, so they solicited grandma's slot machine arm to build casinos to fund the arena that is there today. So the Devils are built on this Pittsburgh Penguins model. And then they got Ray Shero in. Actually, they didn't. Shero at that time was already been fired by the Penguins after winning one Stanley Cup. He brought Tom Fitzgerald over. who was working under Jim Rutherford alongside Bill Guerin in Pittsburgh. And they followed this Pittsburgh Penguins model, which is now deemed obsolete if you want to build a real championship team in the NHL. Then there was this model of cheating the cap system, like the Vegas Golden Knights with these LTIRs and Tampa Bay Lightning. These LTIRs, which now they've changed the rules on it. But right now, the model is the Florida Panthers. 3 Stanley Cup appearances in a row. They've won the last 2 back-to-back, which is very difficult to do. That's the model. Where are the Pittsburgh Penguins right now? I know they're old. They had a good start to the season, but they broke down. They've had some injuries. Now they're going down south, and that model doesn't work. Wimpy says, spot on about the Penguins model. I was on board with it. But you literally had a winning culture in New Jersey of, 2.5 decades of winning under Lou Lamoriello. You had all the quirks. Players couldn't wear number 13. The jersey numbers didn't go past 40 unless you had a damn good reason. There were a lot of quirks. There was culture. There was team-first culture. Scott Stevens, if you remember, was assistant coach or interim coach, coaching with Adam Oates. You had that winning culture. The ownership group failed to realize they had a gold mine here. Everything was in place. It's just the era had just ended. You had the history of the New Jersey Devils, 3 Stanley Cups. And what'd you do? We want to be like the Pittsburgh Penguins, our rivals of the Metropolitan Division. Or at that time, it was the Atlantic Division. Was it Atlantic Division? There was the Atlantic Division. Used to be Patrick Division. How stupid can you be? They absolutely did not know what they have. You know, when you look at the 76ers, what did they have? I don't know much about the 76ers basketball. But they did have, they had the Allen Iverson days. You know, Philly fans, they're passionate about their sports teams no matter what. So, that should be a layup. No pun intended. Because, Philadelphia fans, you could sell them dog crap and they'll buy into it. The Commanders, and the Guardians. Did you notice that? I don't know if it's a coincidence that when Blitzer bought in to the Guardians and when Harris bought into the Commanders, did you notice that, the team name change on both teams? Used to be the Redskins and Indians. And then 6 months later, they bought in. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but Stanley says Sam is pretty much eulogizing the franchise right now. Devils ceased being Devils when Lou went away. Ownership put their stamp on it. It's the dark days for the franchise. Well, everybody wants to. I mean, look, they're entitled to these guys. Look, I'm not going to criticize them personally. I'm not going to criticize, their ability to make money, what they do for a living. Obviously, they know what they're doing in that respect. But when it comes to winning, they have no track record of winning, and that's what scares me. And the problem is, I think they know, but they don't. Maria says we're like the Sears of sports franchises. Yeah, remember the Sears catalog back in the day? I love that catalog. I wish, sometimes I wish we had some of that nostalgic stuff that, like we had years ago growing up. Ted says it's definitely a culture issue. I think it is. I totally think it is. That's how complicated things is. But really, on the ice, I really think if you want to talk about on-ice stuff, you got to ignore the noise of what I just said. You can still win a championship. I do believe you can win a championship with this ownership group. But it's up to the players to ignore all the noise and develop their own culture within that locker room, holding each other accountable. But as what the GM says, we don't want dickheads on this team. No, you do want dickheads on this team. You want the Brad Marchands, okay? You want the Matthew Tkachuks. You want players that are going to hold other players accountable. Friction is good. Debate is good. Because you know why? Because it keeps everybody engaged. And you want accountability in that locker room. And I think Scotty may disagree with me. Maybe I'll talk to him on the Sunday edition of the Let's Go to Oils podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. I think Scotty, I'm gonna bring that up to Scotty. Do you think we need dickheads on this team? Because that's what Tom Fitzgerald said. We don't need any of these guys. Au contraire. It's not about being loved in the locker room. It's being respected. And everybody wants to be loved, including me. Sometimes when somebody comes up to me, hey, you're Sam Wu. You're the Let's Go to Ellis podcast. Yes, I am. Be like, your podcast sucks. And then they walk away. It happens from time to time. Even Sam Wu loves to be loved. But you know what? I'd rather be respected than loved. Which is why I tell you my opinion. You don't have to agree. I'm not telling you to agree. But I'm telling you, hey, if you don't agree, snap back with substance of a good opinion and against my argument. That's all I ask. Yeah, maybe that's going to be a sign that I'm going to hold up, Wimpy, at American Whiskey outside Prudential Center. Dickheads wanted. John Lopez, OT was frustrating. Too much finesse. You think that they would have learned by now. I couldn't agree with you more. Marcus. Nico needs to work on his shots. He misses the net too often. He would miss a soccer goal. Yeah, I don't understand why they're missing the net. Oftentimes, they have so much time. Remember I was saying, just get the puck on the net? Don't think, do. But they have all the time in the world with that puck sitting on the blade. You would figure that they would actually put the puck on net. But instead, they're holding the stick too tight, waiting for the perfect shot, and it always goes wide. Even though the stick's on their blade for a second and a half, 2 seconds, wide open with that net. Worst case scenario, shoot at the goalie's head. All they need to work on shots, if they shoot at open net, they hit everywhere the goalie is. All right, well, that's all for now for this morning woo. Dropping the podcast in about 10 minutes. 85 straight days of the morning woo. Again, it's not that hard. You just get up and you just do it. New Jersey Devils, it's not that hard. When you get the puck, put it on net. Not carry the puck in the neutral zone like Jack Hughes, Mr. Turnover himself, last night, Now have a 3-on-none going back the other way. It's just not good. Not good hockey. All right. Well, I'm going to salute you, the Devils fans, that listen to this podcast. I've had a lot of good compliments about this morning woo. Still kind of surprising to me, to be honest. Lupus Not Is, I got your email this morning. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Hope you're enjoying those Rangers Suck fortune cookies. But yeah. Salute you, the Devils fans. We got a couple more games before 2025 is out. Got a point last night. It's a starting point. But hopefully we can beat the Maple Leafs and those Columbus Blue Jackets. New Year's Eve massacre in Columbus. To you, the Devils fan. Till next time, this is the Morning Woo. Let's go, Devils.
I love